Hello, welcome to another episode of Science Talks, a conversation hosted by the University of Arizona's BIO5 Institute. My name is Amy Randall Barber. Joining me today as a co-host is undergraduate and BIO5 student extraordinaire, Paulina Garza. Paulina has been part of the BIO5 team now for 4 years and is getting ready to graduate in May this year. Thank you for co-hosting with me today. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your major and your plans for after college?
Yeah, so my name is Paulina, but some people do call me Lena, and I'm graduating this May with a bachelor's in Management Information Systems and a double minor in Spanish and Music from U of A's Eller College of Management. I'm excited to share that I also have secured a post-academic position with Crow as a GRC tech consultant and will be moving to Chicago around mid to late July.
That is awesome. Congratulations. So exciting. Of course, I wish we could keep you, and this point when the students have to graduate is always tough for us, but we're very, very happy for you, of course. That is wonderful. So let's get into our interview today, who is another student of the BIO5 Institute's team. She works exclusively with the Keys High School Internship Program.
And so BIO5's Keys Research Internship is a unique summer opportunity for motivated Arizona high school students with a strong interest in bioscience, bioengineering, environmental health, data science, or biostatistics. These students work with top UA faculty on research projects for 7 weeks during the summer. And in many cases, the students continue their lab work while attending the University of Arizona, even after their time in Keys. So today we're joined by Byrdie Lopez, and Byrdie started as a Keys intern herself back in 2022 and is now working for their team and planning on attending pharmacy school here at the University of Arizona. Byrdie, thank you for joining us. So we like to start off every podcast the same way with a few fun icebreaker rapid fire questions, and they're meant to be fun and lighthearted and easy to answer. So.
All right, are you ready?
I'm so ready. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So what is your favorite type of weather?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would have to say a subtle rain with a little bit of rolling thunder in the background.
Oh,
maybe a couple strikes of lightning, too.
Okay.
Ooh.
You're like evoking a mood with that. That's cool.
Yeah,
kind of like
just picture
today.
reading
know.
a book and like enjoying that weather. It's like, that's a perfect day.
Cup of tea.
In Tucson.
Warm
yeah.
blankie.
I feel like
Yeah.
anywhere in Arizona.
Just a little bit of rain. Yeah. And then the smell of the rain in the air.
It's like fresh. Yeah, like
I love that
the
smell.
desert, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is, would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
That's a really good question. I would have to say being able to speak all of the languages, because then you can communicate to every single person and there's like no conversation barriers, and you can just really get to know somebody, and I feel like there's endless possibilities with speaking all the languages.
You could actually talk to every single human in this entire world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that's-
exactly.
I feel like that would probably be.
Yeah.
But talking to animals would be
I
fun
know.
too.
But I mean,
right?
if you speak all of the languages, does that mean you also can speak to animals?
Oh.
An animal language, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know any other languages?
I am a little bit proficient in Spanish. That's about it. But I would love to get fluent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially living around Mexico and stuff, and it's a lively part of Tucson, the Mexican culture. And,
Absolutely. Yeah. Southern Arizona, yep.
Yep.
Yeah. If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to and why?
Yes. Okay. This is interesting. So I would go back to the 80s, and here's why. So in 1985 was Live Aid. And Live Aid was this huge concert, and all these people tuned in around the world, and it was just one of the most influential times. And it was basically a fundraiser to help starving children in Africa. And so all of these different groups, they decided to participate for free, and they'd give all of their funds to this charity. So, and specifically Queen was there. So, and I love Queen, so I kind of just want to see Freddie Mercury perform and all of that. But yeah, 1985, Live Aid.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had that locked in and ready.
I know.
I would not know how to answer that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's so emotional, especially in Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but at the end, there's this scene of Live Aid and everybody's just crying. It's a very emotional event, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. That's an awesome answer. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so now these are the more science-y keys type questions.
Perfect.
So I'm enrolled in the business college, so I know a little bit about science, but not too much. But I always wondered how science students start their journey and like with science, and what initially inspired you to study science, or if that was like a newer thing that you discovered about yourself coming into college, or just that journey.
Yeah, so growing up, I always was very curious about the world around me, and I'd participate in like science fairs, and I would do SARSF, and I loved all of my science classes. I couldn't stop asking questions. But it was really in high school. I had this amazing, phenomenal chemistry teacher, Dr. Zreda, and she was a pivotal figure who like really made me super passionate about chemistry. And she was just so passionate about it, so it just resonated with me, and I took that with me, and I still like have that passion to pursue chemistry and biological systems and just learning about that side of the world. So I love science so much. So it's always really been a part of me, but until high school, it really emphasized that.
Aw. And
Yeah.
does your teacher know
Yeah.
that you feel that way? Okay.
Yeah, I see her here and there, and I like to check in and see how things are going. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
cool.
great to have that, like, a teacher that, I mean, there's a lot of teachers that I've interacted with that are actually passionate about what they're teaching, but it's just so cool to hear when students start something because of their teacher.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
always
just so
loved that.
grateful to have had her as a teacher, because it's really impacted me and where I am today.
Yeah, I feel like that's like why they get into teaching. You know,
Yeah.
they want to impact kids and
Yep. Teach the
inspire
next
them.
generation. Yep.
That's
For
awesome.
sure. So like we were saying before, you were an intern in the Keys program here in 2022. Could you explain to us what the advantage is for being accepted into such a prestigious program in high school, and what it meant to you specifically, especially now as an enrolled U Arizona student?
Yeah. So Keys is such an influential program. Being a part of it, you are a part of a select group of people who are super science-based and very into the world of research. And it's so important being a part of Keys. You do a ton of networking. That is a huge advantage of being a part of the program. You're talking with principal investigators who facilitate the lab, and you're in contact with them. And then you're talking with postdoctors, and then you're talking with graduate students, and you're really getting your love of research and science out there, and people are going to advocate for you throughout your entire life. So building that initial connection, especially in high school, it doesn't get any better than that, and especially starting at a young age. So definitely networking is a huge part of the Keys program. But also, for me, this is something that I personally love about Keys is when I was a part of the program, I learned about the impact of research. Research is so important. It facilitates future science, and where, like for example, future medications. We may cure cancer, and there's just so many endless possibilities. And it all starts with the legwork that we put in right now, and that facilitates the future. So it's just so influential, and that's what I love about Keys, is giving high school students that early access to being in research and seeing what it means to them and how it can impact the future.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
very cool, especially at a young age. I don't know, I feel like when I was in high school, I mean, once again, I was never really a science person, but I never knew what to even expect about research or what was inside a lab or anything like that.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. There's so many misconceptions in a lab, like you wouldn't believe, and all labs are different. So each Keys intern has their own individual experience, and it's really cool for them to get that firsthand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. And so each intern is assigned with a mentor. Who was your mentor, and what was the nature of the lab's work that you were in?
Yeah, so my mentor, I was actually going to see him today and just check in and see how things are going in the lab. I love going to my lab just to see. But his name is Mung Chung, and we are with the Dr. Wei Wang's lab in the College of Pharmacy. And our lab specializes in cancer biology, or chemical biology, I should say. So anything that falls under that umbrella. So that goes from like chemical assays, which are basically chemical experiments, to biological experiments regarding proteins. But in my research, we focused more on cancer. So there's lots of things that can fall under that protein window, but it really depends on what the researcher wants to tackle. And the really cool thing about my research lab was we had a biological side and a chemical side. So we had half of our team completely 100% doing chemical reactions all day and working on their research that way. And then we had another team who was just on the biological side who would grow cancer cells or make proteins or image different cells and do that thing. So it was really cool to see both sides. I got a taste of both when I was doing my research, and my mentor really helped facilitate that. And he helped me emphasize in on the biological side, which was so cool, working with cancer and making proteins and then doing chemical tests on them. So that was really what we did in my research lab. It was really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I feel like cancer is such a complicated thing.
Oh yes, it is.
So what types of cancer would be affected by the discoveries that were made during your time in the lab?
Yeah, so when I worked on my research project, we were talking about the chemotherapy, a specific chemotherapy agent. It's called ARV-771. It is FDA approved, but we wanted to see if it could target a specific kind of cancer. It's called senescent cancer. And so there's two kinds of cancer. There's normal cancer and there's senescent cancer. So what are the differences between those? So a normal cancer, it's actively dividing. It is growing at an enormously fast rate. It's constantly mutating, growing, trying to take over the human body. And that's bad. We don't want it to take over the body, or else you're gonna have negative side effects, and we just don't want cancer in our bodies. So typically what they'll do is give the patient a chemotherapy drug to attack the cancer, kill it off, to get rid of it. But in most cases, a lot of them die off, but there are some remaining cells that are still probably in the human body, and they get mutated a little bit. And those mutated cells, they become irregularly shaped and mutated even further, and they're so hard to treat with chemotherapy because they're not like your traditional normal cells. They're more mutated. So that's what we targeted in my research because they're super deadly. You can't really target them with chemotherapy. So we just wanted to see if this chemotherapy drug could target this specific kind of cancer. So in my research lab, we used lung cancer as a model for that. So this could affect lots of different kinds of cancer, lung cancer being one of them. It's very complex deciding what chemotherapy you use for which cancer because there's a lot of extraneous factors like about the patient that you have to consider. But lung cancer is one of many that this research could affect.
Wow. And did you have any good results that you can share?
Yeah, so it was so exciting. So I was working with the lung cancer hands-on, and I actually put the drugs into each cancer cell. Well, not each cancer cell, but each dish of cancer. And we found out that it was effective in killing that lung cancer strain. Yeah.
Wow.
Very exciting. It was really cool to have effective results like that.
Heck yes.
Yeah.
And what do you do after that? Like, what's the next step?
Yeah, so I believe this is going to be part of a research paper that my mentor Meng Young is working on, and I think that's the paper that's currently under review right now. I could be wrong.
Oh, good.
But it's just going to be one aspect of this particular drug that we were looking at towards a larger paper. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I'm really excited to see what they do with that particular chemotherapy and if it goes on to actually helping people, because that would be amazing.
Gosh, that would be so cool.
Anything that.
And to say, like, you had part in that, you know? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, that's so
That's
sick.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
And with that, it could be any type of memory, but what was your favorite highlight memory of your experience as a Keys intern?
Oh my gosh. I loved every second being in Keys. It was so great to meet all of these individuals all over Arizona, high school students who were all passionate about science. That was my crowd. I love people who love science, and we instantly clicked. That was so much fun. So that was definitely a highlight. But in my research lab, I think that my favorite moment would be making peptides. It's not something that like a lot of people do. And I think we were one of the only labs that has this machine. So this machine is about 300 to 400 grand. It's about the price of a house. And so you're making peptides. So it's just like a protein. And there's 20 bottles because there's 20 amino acids to make a protein. So what you do is you go on this computer that's attached to this huge machine. You type up, okay, I want these amino acids. Maybe like you do 5 to however many you want, maybe like 20 amino acids. And then you put it in, you type in the sequence, and you press start. And then maybe 24 hours later, you have a peptide. And there's a whole chemical workup that you have to do to actually like encase release the peptide from its casing. But it's so cool. You can just like, do on a computer, and then out pops a peptide.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy.
Yeah.
It's a really cool machine. And like amino acids, I didn't know what kind of shape that they would take form, and like how do you put amino acids, individual amino acids into a machine? Well, each amino acid takes a powdered shape, and you just put it in this solution, and you mix it up into a liquid form, and you just put all the liquid forms of the amino acid into the machine, and then that's how it would take the amino acid, and it would just like put all the pieces together. And yeah, it was so cool. It was so much fun.
Thank you for explaining that. Like I totally have a visual in my mind right now of what that machine looks like.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, it sounds like satisfying, like a little
puzzle.
puzzle.
It is. It really
So
is.
nice.
So can you tell us how Keys influenced you to where you are now, either in school, life, at work?
Oh yeah. Keys has impacted me profoundly. From an academic side, I've learned so many skills like science literacy. That is a huge skill, one of the most important skills I would say in Keys. Being able to explain what you're doing, the research that you're doing to any person, whether it's your little brother who's in elementary school or like your grandparent or another doctor or like a colleague in your research lab. It doesn't matter the audience. Science literacy plays a huge role in that. And that's something that we work for weeks on in Keys. And that's such a great skill, especially like for those who are wanting to pursue medicine and stuff like that. Like for me, I really want to pursue pharmacy.
Okay.
So that really impacts that. And it's an important skill to have in that light. And then also personally, it has boosted my confidence. Being in Keys, it's an overwhelming but really fun experience. You gain so many skills in 7 weeks. You gain so much. And before I did Keys, I was a timid high schooler. I was a timid high schooler who was just trying to get by, and being in a research lab, doing researching about cancer and actually being hands-on and learning all these techniques, you gain so much. And then you're like, wow, like I can do this. I can do this thing. I can read a research paper. I can talk to my family about what I'm doing in my research lab. I know how to do a cell culture, like with lung cancer. It's so amazing, and it really affects confidence, especially going forward into like college. It prepares you like professionally and like, I can do this. Like if I did Keys, I can do anything else that comes my way. It's such an amazing program like that. So yeah, Keys is awesome. I love it.
Such
It's
a nice
great.
way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
And you are a student here at U of A. What is you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but what is your major and what year are you in school?
Yeah, so I am double majoring in biochemistry and molecular and cellular biology and minoring in pharmaceutical sciences. However, it gets a little bit complicated because I'm a sophomore and I applied for the U of A PharmD program and I just got accepted.
Congratulations!
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. So I'm going to be focusing on the PharmD aspect. So I won't be actually pursuing my bachelor's. I'm going to be shifting directions towards my doctorate of pharmacy. So that's my goal. So it starts in fall and I'll be in the class of 2028.
Wow.
I'm so excited.
Heck yes, that's
I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
So is it like I think it's called like the early assurance program or something like that?
Yeah, it's similar to that.
Yeah. My roommate's in it right now.
Oh my
so.
gosh,
Yeah.
in the pharmacy program?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
she
Good
loves
for
it.
her.
Have you always wanted to go to the University of Arizona, or were there other schools that you had in mind when you were in high school? And did your experience with Keys help you make that decision?
Yeah, okay. So the U of A was always a first choice for me.
Okay.
Because in high school I had that passion for science and chemistry, and I really wanted to be at a school where research is in like the top 10, I believe research is number 5 in funding at the U of A, and that's huge. It's so important to me. So even before Keys, I knew U of A was the place for me.
At what point did you become a research assistant, and did you stay in Dr. Wang's lab, or did you try any other labs?
Yeah, so after Keys, I really wanted to stay with Dr. Wang's lab. I loved it so much, and I had the best experience. So right after, I was a volunteer for that semester after, because I was at the U of A. So I decided to do volunteer that way. And then after that, I decided to get academic credit. So I was a student worker in their lab. And then the summer after that, then I decided to become a research assistant, or I should say my PI let me be a research assistant in their lab. And it was a phenomenal experience. And I even got a chance to work on a little bit of my own research and like brainstorm potential ideas for further projects for the lab, which was really fun. And we even did a mice model during that summer. So that was very fascinating to be a part of, and actually treating mice with our cancer research. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's like taking it a step further from the petri dish to like see
Oh,
it
yeah.
actually working
The in
to
vivo. Yep.
cure it. Wow. So have you had the same mentor in the lab this entire time as well since Keys?
Yeah, I have. It is Meng Young. He's still my research mentor. I'm no longer in the lab anymore, but for that almost a year and a half, I would say, a year, yeah. He was my research mentor, and he was phenomenal. He's still studying to get his PhD in biochemistry at the U of A, so it's really cool because I was majoring in biochemistry, and so he was helping me along the way with that, but also helping me on a research side, so it was really cool, and he was a really great mentor for me.
Awesome. Can you talk about an exciting or revealing moment that happened recently in the lab?
Yeah, so I'm no longer in the research lab. However, I'm still updated on what's happening. We actually had a research paper published in September, or it was October, or it was August. It was one of those months, but it was really exciting because I helped with that research, so they added my name to the paper.
Oh, that's
Very
great.
huge. Very huge.
Yep.
And for my Keys research, they're actually publishing a paper on it currently. So I think I said this earlier, but the paper's under review right now, and my name is also on that paper. So it's really exciting, and it's so awesome to be a part of that. So we have those 2 papers that are being published, and my research lab was awarded by the Arizona Cancer Center. I forgot exactly what the award was, but it was for my mentor's research in senescent cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a really huge deal. And
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So early in your career,
I
and your name's
know.
already on 2 papers.
Yeah, I'm so, yeah.
That's crazy. Going back to when we were talking about pharmacy school, have you always wanted to work in pharmacy, or were there other areas that you explored going into?
Yeah, so, well, honestly, early on, I wanted to be an interior designer. I would always watch HGTV
Yes.
and like Flip or Flop, or like Christina on the Coast, or like, all of those. So that was, it was a hobby of mine, so I love doing that. But I realized that science is really something that I want to pursue. And in high school, it really reinforced that. And my parents are also health professionals, so that really helped me along that pathway, and it just turned into a passion for pursuing pharmacy, especially with the chemistry and wanting to help people. It makes me so happy when somebody, especially like a patient, would understand like what's going on, especially with a drug or something like that. And I want to walk them through that process. And patient education is so important. And I feel like there's so many misconceptions, and I feel like I want to make a contribution to that world and make it easier. Yeah.
Love that.
So I feel like you've already accomplished so much in your academic career, but what do you hope to like ultimately accomplish by the end of your academic career?
Yeah, so by the end of my academic career, I want to be a pharmacist, and I'd love to specialize in oncology, moving back to my cancer research. And that's really what facilitated it, my Keys research, doing that research poster on senescent cancer. So I would love to pursue oncology as a pharmacist and also have one foot in research. Research is so important. I can say that all day, every day. It facilitates tomorrow's medicine. And as a pharmacist, I have to be aware of what's coming out, what are we dealing with for the future, and I really want to be aware of that. So I would love to be a pharmacist specializing in oncology and have maybe not own my own research lab, but be a part of a research lab and be aware of what's going on in the research world.
Wow. Yeah, that is cool. And I'm just going to ask a question that seems, I think, maybe like a silly question, but I feel like I just want to clarify. When I think of a pharmacist, or when maybe the general public thinks of a pharmacist, they think of like Walgreens and, going there. So what is the kind of pharmacist you want to be? Like, what would they do and where would they work?
Yeah, so there are lots of different kinds of pharmacists. So you have commercial pharmacists, which work at a CVS or Walgreens, and there are clinical pharmacists who work in the hospital. There are like the intensive care unit or the emergency room. They all have their own pharmacists on staff.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. So doctors can contact them if they need help, or nurses can contact the pharmacist to make drugs, to deliver drugs, all of that jazz. And I want to do that, but for the oncology side. So maybe either working in the hospital and doing clinical rounds and that sort of thing, or having my own practice and seeing patients for oncology.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
Do you think you're going to go through like residency and all that? Or is
Yeah, I love education so much, and I want to learn as much as I possibly can because I want to be an excellent pharmacist. And you can never learn too much, especially in medicine and pharmacy where things are constantly changing. And to be at the forefront of that, constantly increasing my education through residencies or maybe getting additional degrees, we'll see. Anything to like help the community and be as good as professional as I can be.
Really make a difference is what it
Yes,
sounds
exactly.
like you
Make an
wanna do.
impact in the community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Aw. So now you are part of the BIO5 Keys team.
Yes, I am.
And part of your job is to help prepare and execute for the next internship. Can you tell us how being an alum has made that transition easier or harder or exciting, or just kind of what's that like?
Yeah, well, Keys has impacted me like on a crazy level. I love Keys so much, and I'm so passionate about this program. I stand for everything that they hold for their values, and I just really wanted to be a part of the Keys team again. So being in Keys, I've learned so much, and I just want to help these future interns, succeed and like really gain all of the things that they're supposed to gain from this program, because it is so impactful, and it's going to impact the rest of their lives, and it's still impacting my life today. And I did Keys 2 years ago, and I just want to see them light up and really see research firsthand and get a good perspective and just help them in whatever way I can.
I think you could really make a difference there and inspire a lot of kids with your story, for sure. Yeah. What is something you learned as an intern that you would like to pass on to a future Keys student?
That's a great question. So before I was in Keys, I wasn't very confident in my abilities and stuff. And I was like, am I even going to be able to do Keys? I was like, I got in for a reason. So there's probably, I can probably do it, but can I? Can I do this? It's a prestigious program to be a part of, and you're learning a ton of things, and you're going to be working in a research lab, and you're going to be doing research. And then you're going to present all of your findings. And it's overwhelming going in, and I really questioned, can I do this? And do I have what it takes? Do I have all of the necessary coursework and experience to be able to do this? Well, I learned that I did. It doesn't matter what background you have going into Keys. You could take no science classes and succeed in Keys, because Keys really starts from the ground up. They teach you everything you need to know. They give you everything you need as far as certifications, all the different trainings. They really do an excellent job making you feel like, you can do this. And they really motivate you and give you all the resources. So I felt super nourished by the Keys team and by their teaching staff especially. And I felt like, okay, like, you know what, I can do this. And I had all of the information, and it was so enlightening by the end of it to be like, oh my gosh, I thought I couldn't do this. And look where I am. I'm explaining this research to my family, and they're so excited for me and to see that. And so, you can come from any background and succeed in Keys. It is all about learning and science, and they'll give you everything. And it's just so impactful, and that's what I love about it. You can come from any background. It doesn't matter who you are. Yeah.
And that's what you would tell the student. You can do this.
You can do it.
You got this.
You got this. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's so cool. So outside of your assigned Keys mentor and your current lab mentor, do you have a mentor that has impacted your decisions in bringing you to where you are today? Now, I know we did talk about your high school teacher.
Yes.
And we did talk about your lab a little bit too. Do you have any other mentors that you want to give credit to?
It's really hard to say that one person
I know, right?
impacted my journey because, my family, my teachers made me who I am today. Everybody who I've had a relationship with in my life has affected where I am today. And my teachers, they're the ones who facilitated what I know today. And I owe a lot of credit to them too. And my significant other, he's there supporting me in all these different lights, and just everybody. It doesn't matter who it is, but they touched me in some way to make me who I am today. So everybody.
Good answer, because that's really a hard one.
Yeah, it is. Sure. It's hard to give credit to one person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so we like to ask everybody this question. So what is your why? I think we may have gotten the answer to this throughout this interview.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you would like to share with us on, like, what keeps you going? Why do you stay in science? And
what is my why? That is a really good question. I think my end goal, especially with my career and all of my science knowledge, is I just want to make an impact. I really want to help the field of pharmacy and science and research, all of those different professions and degrees of my life. But I want to make that impact and, help the future generations, and maybe we can cure cancer. Maybe we can do that. There's so much hope out there, and with research, and all these smart people who are out there, I think we can do it.
I believe you.
I think we can.
I think you will be part of that. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking with us today. It was an absolute pleasure, and it was great to get to know you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Absolutely.
Thanks to our listeners for tuning in to another episode of Science Talks. Continue the conversation with us next time as we learn more about the amazing science happening at the University of Arizona's BIO5 Institute.